Radio. Raheem here with Dominic BREAZEALE. Bro, we're in Los Angeles. This is the scene of a big heavyweight fight in just about over a month or so. And you've got your own fight on the other coast in New York, where it's going to be a lot colder than it is here today. But one thing that is definitely heating up is that heavyweight division. And you've held titles there. You've fought on the other in the other pond. You fought here. But right now, with all the money in the sport and the finally global attention on your division, where is the most beneficial place you feel like for heavyweight boxing to take place? Because there's been a big debate, and you're one of the few guys who fought in both. Is it America, or is England or the UK taking over?
I think it's definitely got to be in America. Yeah, the UK and England are doing a great job. Eddie Hearn's got his own thing over there with Danza TV. But I think anytime an athlete or an entertainer of any state can come here to the U.S. and thrive, it's a big thing. And for boxing, I mean, let's not recreate the wheel. When you think of heavyweight boxing, you think MGM Grand, you think Vegas, you think now currently the T-Mobile Arena. When I win a belt and I go to do my thing and I go to defend it, I want to defend it at the T-Mobile Arena. I want to go to Vegas. And if not there, I want to go to the Rose Bowl, somewhere big where I can put 100,000 people in a football arena.
To put 100,000 people in a football arena, you know, that's Anthony Joshua type of territory. What do you think it requires for American heavyweights, even like Wilder, to get that kind of fanfare and attention in the States?
I think it's going to need an individual like myself, man, charismatic, somebody you can carry a conversation with, someone who's got boxing skills that not only is going to come into the ring and just knock somebody out, but knock somebody out with style. Somebody you got to be able to create a fan base and be marketable, man. Wilder's does some distraction things that's kept him from being the big heavyweight WBC champion he should be. I can't wait to get my hands on him because we've got some personal business to score off with. But at the same time, we're professional athletes and we've got to do things in a professional manner.
You know, you talk about that personal business. Obviously, your family was involved. A lot of it was caught on camera. It's a big disruption, at least in the boxing world, to see something like that. You're clearly not over it. Have you had any discussions with Wilder since then? Has anything at all been settled? Do you feel differently about the guy?
I don't feel any different about it. We haven't had any discussions. He hasn't reached out to me. I haven't reached out to him. I don't feel like I was at fault. It was all on his turf, his territory, his people charging me and my family. It's something I'm never going to ever forget, of course. And at the same time, I don't feel like I need to forgive him for it. You know, it's a situation that's definitely very, very personal. It's keeping me in the gym. It's keeping me driving. It's getting me up at 5 in the morning to continue to work out and do my thing. And I can't wait to get my hands on him.
Well, being the WBC mandatory possibly when that fight is done, get you in a good position to do that. But what does it require? As we all know in boxing, there's a lot of people that could be mandatory. There's a lot of fights fans want to see, a lot of things that should happen but don't. How do you make sure that you don't become one of those stories? How do you get your hand on Wilder in this current environment?
I think I keep pressing the issue. I'm going to do a good job of staying in the gym, hurry up and get ready type of a situation. I'll stay ready, so if they do try to catch me off guard, like, hey, you're fighting in 4 weeks, I'll be ready and prepare for it. At the same time, just keep the pressure on the WBC to force the issue. I'm the WBC mandatory. I want it in the rightful fashion. Give me my opportunity when it's my time. And it's been a year now that I've been the WBC mandatory, so I've waited enough time. I've given him an ample amount of time to take a fight, score off, and find a place. And of course, he found another opponent in Fury. I actually think Fury's going to win the fight, but at the same time, I want Wilder to win the fight so I can get my hands on him.
Now, you mentioned like guys who have things going on inside and distractions outside of the ring. Both of those guys fit that description, Wilder and Fury. So why Fury is your pick?
I just think Fury really truly believes he's the man on the mountaintop. He's got this confident swag about him. He's understanding that he can do certain things, and he's not one to ever get in the ring to really try to knock somebody out. Yeah, heavyweights you want to see a knockout, but at the same time, it's been a long time since you've ever seen a 6'9", 260-pound-plus man move around the ring for 12 rounds like he does. He does things very unorthodox, and it's hard to prepare for. I don't think Wilder understands what he's getting himself into. Yeah, do we all want to knock somebody out? Of course. But it's going to be very, very hard for a guy like Wilder to catch up to a guy like Fury.
You know, you mentioned Fury having that charisma and saying he's the guy. Well, he also says that he's the linear heavyweight champion, and that's the only one that matters. And then Wilder, of course, has the WBC title. He's an American. And then Joshua has more titles than everybody, and he's got more, I guess, fanfare, I should say, than everybody. So it's a good question, really, to all heavyweights. Who's heavyweight champion of the world?
Hey, as of right now, you've got Deontay Wilder, who's got the WBC, and you got Joshua, who's got multiple belts. But you won't be able to solidify the issue until one man holds all the belts. And that's the reason why there's multiple belts. There's the reason why there's multiple sanctioning bodies. You hold a belt, you're considered a champ. You hold all the belts, you're considered the undisputed heavyweight champ.
And lastly, man, big guys, it's really difficult to figure out how you stay in shape when you're not fighting. Like in between, it would imagine that it would be easier for a big guy to put on weight and stay out of the gym in a sport that you really need to stay in conditioning and stay in training. So when you have like setbacks in your career, like the Joshua fight didn't go the way you wanted, you haven't gotten the Wilder fight even though you felt like you should have got it sometime this last year, how do you stay training, stay fit, stay ready, so that when that time gets, when you get called up, when you got a fight in December, that you don't have to go into camp fat and get ready?
I think it's understanding, and for every fighter it's different. You've got to get yourself into a situation where you understand you've got to stay ready and you got to be ready at the drop of a dime. If you ever, it's so easy to get out of shape, but a lot harder to get back in shape. So I'm a guy that can only speak for myself. I'm always going to stay within 10 to 15 pounds of my fight weight. That way, when I get in the gym and it's time to go back to crunch time in camp, that first week I can drop the 10 pounds or 15 pounds just by sweating alone. But at the same time, I'm in the gym 3-4 days minimum a week. Even if I'm just going to go there and carry a conversation, I know if I go there to tell myself, well, I'm just going to go talk to my coach, I'm going to work out. I'm not just going to go to the gym and work out, right? So I'll stay focused and stay on top of my P's and Q's and stay in the gym. If I'm in the gym and around the gym, I'm going to work out. I'm going to stay focused. You know,
this, I would say, is probably the time when there are the most heavyweight contenders that haven't been fighters their whole life, that are coming from other sports, that came into the fight game late. Usually, or at least up until now, that was unheard of. Like guys, you just couldn't be an elite fighter unless you had really fought your whole life, or at least that was the thinking. Has having a football career, having come to the sport late, helped or hindered you? Is the conditioning different for you as a fighter, easier or worse? And as your career goes on and you get older, do you think that not having fought your whole life would help, or having played other sports might shorten the time that you can fight as a boxer?
Yeah, I think being an athlete from other sports, primarily football, the only thing that it hindered me with is coming on to boxing late. I would have loved to have came into boxing, at the age 16, 17-year-olds, right before, as a young adult or an adolescent going into, my young years, because I would have had more time to learn, and I could have became an elite fighter at 25, 26, opposed to 30, 32. So that's the only way it hindered me. But for the long run of things, starting at 23 and being 33 years old, I feel like I can do it for another 10 years. Am I going to do it for another 10 years? Time will tell. We'll see. The body feels good. I haven't taken a lot of damage. I haven't taken, a ton of injuries. So I feel good. I feel healthy. Mentally, I'm there. My trainer believes I can do it for another 10 years. So I'm going to go as long as I can. I've got a great team around me, and they've always told me, like, hey, we need to work on this. We need to work on that. And I've done a good job of making those adjustments. But like with any other sport, man, there's always going to be a time that you got to hang up the cleats or hang up the gloves. In boxing, it's all on each individual person. Some people start fighting their pro debut at 18 years old and they retire by 22, only have a 4-year career. But that's because they had a hard, amateur career. In the amateurs, I remember beating guys and they're like, hey, man, how many fights do you have? I'm like, 26. And they're like, I have 326. How's that possible? But they had been fighting since they were 5, 6 years old, and I had just started at 23. So to each its own. I think at this point it hasn't hindered me. I've definitely learned a lot from boxing and transitioned it into football because of the fact that I was a quarterback. I study a ton of my film just like quarterbacks would do in the chalk talk room. They're game planning for games and getting in and out of plays just like I would be doing in the boxing ring. If I get hit with a jab, okay, you're not going to hit me with that jab again. And if you throw it, I'm going to do this to you. So there's my counter. So as I'm creating plays in the ring, I'm also recreating plays outside of the ring and vice versa.
And lastly, fight fans can be unforgiving, and this is an unforgiving sport, punishing physically. So when a guy loses a fight, or even two, a lot of people write him off. That's just part of our sport. I don't agree with it, but that's a lot of the way that people see fighters. Oh, you lost this, you're done. You had a shot, you didn't make it, that's it. What is it that those guys that are writing off Dominic Breazeale, what is it that they don't know about you, and what do you plan to prove to them and to yourself in this coming year, 2019, at the end of 2018 with this fight?
I think a lot of people kind of doubted me in the beginning. A lot of people have always just said a football player can't be a boxer, and a quarterback definitely can't be a boxer. He's the softest position on the field, and I've proven a lot of those people wrong. But at the same time, with my loss to Joshua, yes, it was a loss, but at the same time, it was a learning lesson. I learned a lot from that fight. I've become a lot better fighter since then. And 2017, 2018, and even coming 2019, I've proven the fact that I've learned from it. I've taken on tougher competition, undefeated guys, knocked them out of the ring, knocked some guys out, knocked some guys down, and it's not like I had a trickle effect of one loss, one win, one loss, one loss. I've only had the one loss to Joshua, and there's several other men out there that have lost to Joshua, some of the best to have ever done it. I'd rather have a loss to a guy like Joshua and his caliber of a fighter than to have just lost to any other guy in the division. Like I said, I use it as a learning lesson, and I keep to thrive off of it.
Radio Raw here with Dominic Breazeale. Well done, man. We can't wait to see you in the ring on December 22nd in New York on the Charlo card. And next year, we look forward to big things, man. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Radio Raw here with Dominic Breazeale.